Are you rich? That's the
If
question.
you don't like Excel, don't become a quantity surveyor. If you're a good, experienced African quantity surveyor, then you're going to get a job. The reason I'm thriving is because I'm constantly learning and constantly trying to increase my knowledge. Hi, my name's Nothando Molloy, and I talk about construction. Wait there, start that again. You're gonna. My name's no, again. Let's start again. I'm Nothando Molloy. How does it start again? Sorry.
What? Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, so I thank you.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nothando and I make videos on construction, lifestyle and travel. On today's video, we have a special guest from Matrone to answer your frequently asked questions about the UK. Surprisingly, as a South African quantity surveyor, I get asked a lot about quantity surveying in the UK. So in this video, I'm featuring Joe from Matrone and he's going to answer all the questions that you guys asked me on my Instagram and on my community post story here on YouTube, and I hope that you find it informative and it enlightens you a bit better. So let's get into the video. Hi Joe, how are you?
Hey Nothando, I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good to see you again, and thank you for doing this video with me.
Very excited.
Yeah, so I'm going to read a few questions for you and yeah, let's just start. Okay, this is my favorite question. London, mate.
London.
London. Am I saying it? Am I off? London.
No, I think you've got a better English accent than me. This is a thing that people don't really understand. Just how many different accents there are in the UK. You can drive an hour down the road. I live right next to Stonehenge, which is beautiful. But I can drive an hour down the road in Bristol and they talk. I can't understand them. And they're speaking the same language as me. And then I drive another hour and I'm in Wales. And that's where I come from. So I understand them. But a lot of people can't really understand the Welsh. So yeah, you bang on.
Are UK companies looking to recruit from outside the country? And is there enough demand? How does one begin their job seeking process to work in the UK?
So that's a big question to start with. So I'm going to give you a big answer if that's okay. So demand-wise, demand is strong. So I get called on a daily basis from recruiters asking for if I'm looking for a new position as a quantity surveyor. I'm pretty settled, so the answer is usually no. Now, when it comes to applying from abroad, this is when it gets a bit difficult. So if you asked me this question this time last year, it would be a bit easier. But as of April the 6th, 2021, it's actually a bit more difficult. So before we were on, quantity surveyors were on the shortage occupation list, sorry. So that means that you are more likely to get employed by UK employers, and you'd have a fast route into the UK. You'd also have a lower application fee, and the requirements were actually a lot lower. As of the 6th of April, quantity surveyors are still on a list, which is great. And if you weren't on a list, we wouldn't stand a chance, really. So the list is I believe it's tier 2, the skilled worker list. So for you to come over to the UK, you would need to pay an application fee. You actually need to secure a job first. That's the most difficult part. So there's lots of websites online where you can look for jobs in the UK. If you've got some friends in the UK that can throw you some numbers of some recruiters, that's also really, really helpful. But again, this is where it gets a bit more difficult. So if we're looking at assistant QS, graduate QS students, that's not really the roles they're looking for at the moment. They're looking for QSs, senior QSs, people that have been in the industry for quite a long time. So I can kind of go through the requirements and the cost that you need to get into the UK. Or I can just send you a link over later and people can browse that in their own time.
I think a link will be better. Also, I came across a website, right? Like you can Google companies that sponsor visas in the UK, and then you can go through the list and see if quantity surveying is there. Then you can apply through that if you, don't have the costs to relocate. So I think they can also look into that.
They can. So companies will pay the cost. So they'll sponsor. They'll pay the travel costs as well. That's again usually for QSs and above. They're willing to pay those travel costs. If you're lower, the other route you can actually get in is if you're a student.
Yes.
A quantity surveying degree or a commercial management degree. You can do an international course that is based in the UK, and then you can stay within the UK for 2 years before you need to apply for another visa. So that would be another good route if you're a student.
Does being registered with the RICS enable one to work in the UK even with the qualification from South Africa?
So RICS is fantastic. It shows that you're chartered, which is great. So chartership enables you. It pretty much says this is a standard I'm at. So if you're a person from South Africa looking to work within the UK and you have MRICS, or maybe not ASOC RICS, but MRICS or FRICS, so fellow of RICS, then the likelihood of you being accepted or you getting a position is greatly increased. So yes, getting RICS chartership will definitely help.
Perfect. Can a QS be a rewarding second career? Is it ageist, do you think?
So for me, I'd say that I'm in the profession. I'm going to be a bit biased, but I would definitely say that QS is a rewarding career. I wouldn't worry about age at the moment. So 40 is still pretty young in the construction industry as a whole, but definitely within the quantity surveying industry. So the average age of a quantity surveyor in the UK is 50. So they're nearing retirement. So at 40, you're actually on the younger side. So in regards to, is it a rewarding job? Yes. First of all, you're part of a team. You might not always be part of a team, but in the job I'm in, I'm part of a team. So you get that back and forth with people. You have such an important role within a construction project. Any commercial or any cost elements come to you, and you're the person that deals with that. If you enjoy your spreadsheets, if you enjoy budgeting, quantity surveying is definitely a job for you.
Does quantity surveying allow you to travel internationally or just provincially? So from my side, it does allow you to travel internationally depending on the company that you work for and what you actually do, where your projects are based as well.
On my side, yeah, so a lot of I think 2 of my last 3 previous bosses were actually from South Africa. One of them was definitely one of my favorite managers. Before Brexit, we could work in any part of Europe. So if I wanted to work in Spain or Italy or I don't know, Sweden is not a good example. We can still do that. But one of the other European countries like Germany, it'd be very, very simple to move, live and work there. Now with Brexit, that's ruined it. But internationally, our degrees are accepted, and it's mainly your experience. If you've got the experience and the qualifications, you can work anywhere as long as you're willing to pay and you fit the eligibility requirements.
Can he take us through his QS journey, right from gaining admission in the university to studying QS? So your journey to becoming a quantity surveyor.
I can definitely give you the story of that. So my journey wasn't a very straightforward journey. So I started not knowing what a quantity surveyor was. So I was 21, working in a control center, answering telephones. That was my job. And then I met a girl, and we traveled all over the world, and she lived in London. She was training to be a doctor. So I decided to move to London to live with this person. I applied for a job as working in a control center again, and that was within a highways company. This is when I actually really found out about the world of construction. So I used to stay, my shift used to be from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. And then I used to work a night shift from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. And there was an evening shift as well. So after my shift had finished at 3 p.m., I just had a fascination about quantity surveying. I loved it. So I used to stay between 3 and 5:30 with the quantity surveyors and really learn about the profession. And eventually a position opened as an assistant to the assistant quantity surveyors. So I was doing admin job, and I was told that I don't have enough experience. So unfortunately, the job is not mine. So I applied for a different job, which was similar but a bit different. It was called DCP. It was damage to crown property. And what would happen is if a car drove into a barrier, it would be my job to go to the insurer, cost up that claim, and recoup that cost. So it was similar. I was costing up certain elements, and I did really, really well with that. I recouped quite a lot of money for my company, and they asked me to do another job, and I said, like a reconciliation job, and I said, yes, I do that, but what I want is to be a quantity surveyor. They agreed. So they gave me the position of assistant quantity surveyor, and they paid for my degree. So I did a degree paid by my company. That was over 3.5 years. So I was getting paid to do the quantity surveying degree, and then became a QS. So a lot of that came down to my company, and a lot of that came down to being in the right place at the right time.
That's actually a really nice story. Okay, how is the building and property market in the UK, especially for someone who just graduated?
So in regards to working in the building sector, it's a great time. So the UK just recently stopped. There was a scheme due to COVID where all stamp duty. I'm not too sure if you have stamp duty in South Africa, but it's a tax you pay when you buy a house. So you have to pay a certain value of the house, whether that be 1%, 2%, or 3%, and that goes straight to the government. So that's a lot of money. If you're paying, £300,000, you have to pay, let's say a percent of that. I can't remember the exact criteria, but a percent of that goes to the government. So they actually scrapped that, and the housing market was booming. People were buying houses left, right, and centre, and house builders were building houses as well. So yeah, that's stopped now. But another scheme they've got in place now is a help to buy scheme. So if you're a new home buyer, the government will give you a certain amount of money towards a house. You have to pay that back. You don't get that for free, by the way. So you have to secure a 5% deposit of a house, and they give you 20% to pay back, start paying back after 5 years. So the housing market is going to be increasing, and it's still a massive demand of QSs within the housing sector. A lot of the QSs don't actually go into housing. We prefer infrastructure or big building work. Houses, not so much. Once you've done one, it's copy and paste. So if you're going on a big housing
yes. Okay. I'm a 40 years old math teacher who is very keen on a career path in construction. I've been accepted on an MSc QS program here in the UK. However, I'm having second thoughts now. How is the job market outlook for a starter? And is it easy to find jobs? I have no experience, but I don't mind starting from the bottom. Thanks.
So, yes, like I said before, there is a great demand of QSs within the UK. The great thing about a master's degree as well is it shows that you've got the highest education, if that makes sense. Apart from a doctorate, I don't think I've ever met a quantity surveyor that has a doctorate. But it'd be great to say I'm a doctor in quantity surveying. I've never seen that at all, but it might exist. But a master's would be the highest I've seen as a quantity surveyor. So if you're going with a master's as a quantity surveyor, you're going to get the pick of the jobs when you start off, and then it's only going to help you going forward.
I'm a QS student studying in Namibia. Our course is not internationally recognized, but I'd like to do my honors in South Africa or in the UK. I'd like to get RICS or CIOB accreditation. What are my chances of getting admission in SA or the UK universities? Also, how is the quantity surveying profession in the UK in terms of job markets? I feel like you've answered this currently. Do they thrive? Question for Nothando. Would you move to the UK if given the opportunity? There's so many questions. Also, for the UK-based QS, are you comfortable with where you are? Do you feel you're earning your worth? I guess it's for both of us. To what extent are you confident that the profession is well paid in the UK? Are there a good number of rich QSs in the UK? Yeah, I realized I'm asking mostly money-related questions. I'm a QS student. Money's on my mind. Okay, for me, would I move to the UK? Definitely. When I started studying construction, that's the first thing that I recognized about my university specifically. even on the pamphlet it said registered, accredited, and you can work anywhere in the world if you study at my university. So I was just like, oh, this is cool. This opens up me actually working in the UK where the profession actually comes from. So I would definitely move if I had the option, definitely. When it comes to money, are you rich? That's the question.
Is that my question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's your question. Because you're in the UK.
Question.
Yeah. Are you any rich QSs in the UK?
There are a lot of rich QSs in the UK. Sadly, I'm not one of them. It would be nice to be one of them, but I know a lot of QSs that have chased money, and that is one thing I strongly suggest you don't do, because those people that have chased money are just unhappy. They're moving from job to job. It looks really, really bad on their CV as well. Every year or every 2 years, they're moving. So I think that personally, it's going to be different for different people. But for me personally, the work-life balance and enjoying your job is more important than money. The money will come, the job and the title won't.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. That's with anything really. As soon as you start chasing the money, you lose the passion for it, and in a way, because you're never really satisfied.
Well, this is the thing. You're always going to work within your means. So when I started off working in that control center, I was earning less than half, probably about a quarter, no, probably about a third of what I earn now. And I was living in a flat in London, and all my money was going on rent and bills, all of it. But now I've got a family and I've got, a wife and a house, but I'm no richer. It's just money is spent on other things. Back then I didn't have a child, now I have a child. Children are expensive.
Yeah, that's true. Are you thriving as a QS right now? Would you say you're thriving?
I'd say because of the channel that we've got at the moment, so Matrone has really made me learn more about my profession. So I felt like I knew quite a lot about my profession, but until you start digging deep, you realized actually you don't really know a lot. That's the same about everything, but with quantity surveying, you learn about different contracts. You introduced me to the JBCC contract. I didn't even know that existed, but I'm learning about it, and hopefully we'll get some videos out to explain it in more detail. So yes, I'd say I'm thriving at the moment, but I think the reason I'm thriving is because I'm constantly learning and constantly trying to increase my knowledge. And I think the people that visit our channels are the same people.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Do you feel like you're earning your worth?
I feel like if I were to move to another company, I would get more. I know I would get more, but like I said, there's no point chasing money if you enjoy your job and if you enjoy the people around you and you've got that good work-life balance. I feel like I've got that within my company, so I don't need to move for an extra 2 or 5 or 10k. It'd be nice to have that increase, but it's not needed at the moment.
Yeah, so I was talking to one of my friends, and she is miserable in the job that she's in, and she's not even being paid that much. So she was wondering if she should move to another job. They will be paying her more, but she doesn't know if she'll enjoy that. So I was like to her, if you're already miserable in the space and there's no need, rather be paid more and be, I don't know, less miserable. I don't know. So yeah, that's a really good answer. I like that.
I was gonna say, if she is miserable, she can move. But if you're happy where you are, the grass isn't always greener. If you're in an extra 5 or 10k, it's not always better.
Is it 10k pounds or rands that you're talking about?
£10,000.
Wow. Okay, which companies are hiring African quantity surveyors?
Yeah, so in regards to African quantity surveyors, it doesn't matter really what country you come from. It matters about the two main for quantity surveying is education and experience. Experience is probably the most important one. So I know commercial managers and senior QSs have had no qualifications at all, but the experience they have is vast. So if you're a good, experienced African quantity surveyor, then you're going to get a job.
Can you still work on site as a QS in the UK after graduation before being registered?
The big differences between the UK and South Africa In the UK, there's no such thing as a registered quantity surveyor. You're either a quantity surveyor as a job title, or you're not a quantity surveyor at all. So when I went from answering phones to doing this DCP work to being a quantity surveyor, I was a quantity surveyor when I was given that title. I didn't have to register myself as a quantity surveyor. So that's the big difference. So when you if you came over to the UK, you don't have to register to another entity. The only thing you'd have to register to was if you were chartered for RICS, then you get your name on the RICS website as, find a surveyor. But there's no such thing as a registered quantity surveyor in the UK. But yes, you can go on site, definitely.
From other countries based in the UK, what work-related challenges have they experienced? So this is probably for the other guys in your team. Do you have that that information? How the experience has been?
So my manager, she was from South Africa. She's a great manager. The biggest difficulty, the biggest hurdle she had was the visas. The visas are expensive. So one company will pay for your visa. Let's say she was coming over as a senior QS, and our company paid for the visa. They paid for the relocation costs, house. Didn't buy a house, but it was money for renting a house for the first, I think, couple of months. And they put her up in a hotel until they found her a house, which was great. But one part of the visa is you can't move jobs within this 5 years, or you have to renew your visa. Renewing your visa costs money, and you have to renew your visa, I believe it's after the first 2 years, but again, check the links that will be down below before you quote me. So yeah, visas are very, very frustrating. And after 5 years, you can apply to stay within the UK for good. So that's what she's done. Also, she wanted to buy a house, and she couldn't buy a house until she was a UK resident. So she had to rent and spend a lot of money in London before she could buy a house.
Is quantity surveying stressful?
Yeah, it can be stressful, but one of the things that I enjoy is budgeting. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm one of those people that will create a spreadsheet for my house expenses. And I love making little pretty spreadsheets. And a lot of quantity surveying, although we've got systems in place, you can have coins to do certain elements of your job. A lot of our job is staring at Excel spreadsheets. So if you don't like Excel, don't become a quantity surveyor. If you like Excel, it's not a bad job for you.
Yeah. So I guess it's about liking what you do.
Liking what you do, exactly.
I'm doing my last year and I still don't know what I want to major in. This one's tricky. So they have a video on their channel. There's two options, right? Construction manager or quantity surveyor. I also have a video on my channel. You can go through those. But my advice is always try to find what would be most aligned with what you like. So if you like being on site predominantly, then you might choose the other one. And if you don't really like being on site that much and like spreadsheets and all that, you can then choose quantity surveying. But yeah, I'll link the videos as well in the description so that you can go through them just to help you. But we're not going to tell you what to do.
No, I would definitely echo what you've just said. Just do your research. You've got videos and there's enough blogs and forums online to decide what you want to do. We can give you advice, but we're not going to tell you what to do. That would not be nice for either of us.
How is the industry towards us in South Africa? How is the racism there?
It is quite a difficult question. Unfortunately, racism still exists, which is disgusting. It's been multiplied, to be honest with you, since I'm not too sure if you guys have watched it in South Africa, but we've just been in the Euros, which is a major competition in football, and England reached the final, which is something that hasn't happened in 55 years, I believe it was. The guys were lauded as heroes, pretty much, and unfortunately 3 black players missed a penalty, and the racist abuse online has been atrocious. So if you asked me this question last week, I would have felt like not different. There is still racism within this country, unfortunately, and in all countries. But it's definitely been magnified the past week, which is very sad. But in regards to quantity surveying, I haven't seen a lot of racism, if I'm being totally honest. It's not in my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are our qualifications compatible to theirs? Yes, I can say yes from my university because that's what they always told us. Like you can work in the UK, but I don't know about the other universities in South Africa.
I think as long as they're accredited by RICS or an association like that, you'd be fine. It's when there's no association. So if you go to a degree that is not associated with RICS, that's when it gets a bit more difficult.
Yeah. Okay. So Payscale compared to South Africa. Again, there's a video that we did, which is on your page, so you guys can go there. I'll put the link in the description as well. What is the name of the video again? South Africa versus the UK.
I think it is, but the main title is Nothando Moloi.
Wow. Payscale compared to South Africa. There's a video that we did with Matrone, so you guys can follow the link in the description. How do you keep the youth in? Okay, I think this is a great question. How do you keep the youth in your system? So how do you retain young people in the construction industry? That side.
So the great thing about quantity surveying within the UK, or just the UK industry full stop, there's a lot of apprenticeship programs. So it's speaking to people who've just left school, who've just done their A-levels, and bringing them into the construction industry. So they go through an apprenticeship program, and kind of like I explained earlier, they pay for your degree, which is great because you leave with a degree and no student debt, because student debt is not fun. The issue you've got with that is because they've paid for your degree, they do pay you a bit less, and you sign a contract that says you can't leave the company within a certain number of years. If you do leave the company within a certain number of years, then you have to pay back all of your degree cost, some of your degree cost, or a fraction of your degree cost, depending on how long you've stayed within the company. So that's one major thing. I reckon that's probably the biggest thing that keeps people within the industry. Attracting people into the industry, different story. They've got so many programs to try and get people into the industry, but I think what we're doing here, the YouTube, 80. I think what number did I can't remember. It was 80 or 90% of. Yeah, it's something like between the age of 18 and 35. The majority of people watch YouTube more than anything. So getting people into the construction industry through this platform is probably more helpful than a multi-million-pound marketing campaign from a company.
That's so true. I agree with that. Also, yeah, with how they, attract the youth or keep them in the system for the 5 years is actually paying for their fees. Because I was also on a program like that where you had to work for a company for the number of years that they paid for your fees. So yeah, that's one way. Retaining them in the system, that's the tricky part. I think, I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know. They just need to be, I think, the channels as well that explain what's going to happen so that people are a bit more prepared with what to expect when they start working, so it's not a shock to their system and they're just like, So when you go into it, at least you'll know professionals that are in it, what they're facing, and I don't know what they're trying to change. I think that's the way that we can actually keep the youth in the system for now. So yeah.
If we're being completely honest as well, if we're being completely honest, once you're within a profession and within a job, you're more likely to stay. So it's, we've been speaking about people leaving in their 40s from their profession. They've had 20 years in that one profession. So the likelihood is you will stay within one profession your entire life. So that's the simple way.
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty, thank you so much for answering all these questions. But yeah, do you have anything else you want to add?
No. You can click the subscribe button on our Matrone YouTube channel. We also have a Instagram page, which is Quantity Surveying Memes. It's just to bring a bit of light to our profession, because our job is seen as quite boring outside, but it's actually quite an interesting job. So we try and make a bit of a joke about what we do. So follow us on Instagram. That's Quantity Surveyor Memes. Facebook, Matrone. YouTube, Matrone. The other one's Matrone. Twitter, that's the one, but we don't really post on there anymore. So just follow us.
Okay, perfect.
But
Don't
thank
you
you
want
very much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for taking your time as well. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. I definitely have. Like, I was even taking notes for myself. I'm just like, maybe I might relocate one day. But yeah, I hope you found it useful. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And see you later in another video.
Subscribe and hit the notification icon because Nothando is awesome. So hit it down here, please.